Come on.
Yeah, throw it in there.
Okay.
I thought I was going off the dome, man. Like, you know, like before they made YouTube, they used to call me, and I fell back. And I saw your list last night. You had that Nelly sweating suit, right?
No, I had to plan, but I get it.
You're gonna have females come up in there a whole lot too.
Well, we'll play a card in and see.
So we finna go ahead and start this out the right way.
All right, you guys are probably going to have to unmute your mics because, of course, when we come out and come back in, it mutes us. But
Can you hear me?
for Herc to come back, listen, people, do not call Herc on Wednesday between 7 and 8. And with that being said, while we wait on the big joker to come back, welcome. It is Wednesday, and it's been the Wednesdays of Wednesdays in all its glory. It's been an interesting Wednesday. Always and forever. But today, I've been telling you about it. We've been hyping it up. We are extremely excited. We have Shonda N. Davis with us today on Conversations That Suit. I love talking about business. I love talking about entrepreneurship. I love talking about innovation. And what better person to bring on than to have this conversation with you? So we are excited. I'm gonna let you tell everybody who you are, and then we're gonna hope that Herc come back in with us and let them tell you about who they are too.
Okay, so just a little bit about myself. I am a business manager and also serial entrepreneur. I am the mother of boys. I am God-fearing. I am a lot of things. But yeah, that's just a briefness about me.
We're going to get into a whole lot more about you over this next hour. So we're going to keep on rolling with it. You have your usual suspects.
Don't say it like that, man.
Don't say it like that.
We have really exciting people on with us. E, tell them who you are.
I'm a usual suspect according to her. Jesus.
You're my favorite suspect. Herc, you're my favorite too. You feed me lemon purple wings. Go ahead.
I'm not getting you wings, and I'm Herc Ricks. Thank you.
So, Sean, I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it.
Okay.
I don't know you personally. You've heard good things about They say when you want to open up something, you got to call Sean first. Let me know what that's about.
Well, and I did leave that out. I do public relations and also marketing. So typically I work closely with venues, and I haven't worked a lot with brands that don't necessarily have locations. I typically work with venues and branding those locations and getting them up and running and really setting the tone for how they will be represented for years to come. I'm usually involved for years at a time.
So when we're talking about you're working with venues and the different things that you do, one of the things is that you see a lot of people wanting to start a business, wanting to jump in a business, but we see people, and I talked about this earlier, they want to jump into trends. When you take on a project, I know you don't take on just anything. How do you select a project you're about to take on, and how do you plan and brainstorm for those projects?
So I will say I move with passion. If it's not something that connects with me, where I feel like, you know what, I can definitely put this on my back. I can say I would stand behind this as if it's mine. If I don't have that type of connection, because I really am passionate. So when I take on a business, like, it has to resonate with me. If there's something about it where I'm like, I wouldn't go there, or I wouldn't do this, I'm not going to sell anybody something that I don't buy into or that I don't believe in. So I think that that's really important, is making sure that you move with passion, move with purpose, not just for a dollar. I've said way more no's than yeses. And I think that that's important, to remain exclusive, and to make sure you can stand behind it 110%, not just for a paycheck.
Do you find it hard to say no a lot of the time?
Say that again for me.
Do you find it hard to say no? A lot of people
Yes.
don't like saying no because they don't like hurting people's feelings for this, that, and the fourth.
Yes, saying no is difficult for me. Now I have colleagues, and I know people will, like, they can say no and it just roll off them like, you know what, I can't do that. I'm sorry. I just can't commit to it. But for me, I mean, it's agony. I mean, it will take me, it's difficult. It really is. And I also believe in saying no with a yes. So if someone comes to me now in this phase of my career, if someone comes to me and they want to work with me, if I can't do it, then I'm going to refer them to someone that I would trust, or that I think would be interested. And I think it's important to do that, to give other people opportunity, with, and also making sure, you can keep your relationships intact. So I typically say no with a yes.
So what got you to this point? How did Shonda Davis start off? What was your initial interest of what you want to do to spark everything now?
You mean just as far as being an entrepreneur per se?
Yes.
So I was actually, which a lot of people don't know this, I was forced into entrepreneurship. I ended up, and this is, I mean, I don't know if this would be considered breaking news or what, but I literally, I took a path that a lot of people wouldn't take, because I really was forced into it. Like, corporate was like, no, you can't come back here. Like, literally, I had left my corporate job. I had started a nonprofit with a business partner, and I decided to start working with a nonprofit organization. And I ended up finding I was pregnant with my son, my second son, and they ended up offering me a severance. Like, when it was time for me to go off and have him, they was like, listen, we're going to offer you severance pay. We love you, but, we just don't want to have to, work with you after you have the baby. Like, we don't want to have to do maternity leave. So when that happened to me, it's hard to get back into a workplace whenever you're 7 months pregnant. Like, that's impossible. Nobody really wants to hire you. So I was really forced to go down a path where it's like, you know what, I need to figure out something to do so that I can make money. And an opportunity presented itself, and I never looked back, from that day forward. Honestly, I realized there was a whole world where I could make money, and I didn't have to clock in to do it. So that's the path I took. That was
Right.
How long was that?
2014. 2014. So I walked into entrepreneurship with a 4-month-old baby, a 5-year-old, no, a 6-year-old, and their father he went to prison. So I literally became a single mother of 2 kids and walked into entrepreneurship all in the same year. It's crazy.
And you've done it for 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not easy. It definitely hasn't been easy. I've had my, my moments where I'm like, you know what? This is a lot. I think I want to just get a job. I think I don't want to do this anymore. Like, we all have those moments where it's just like, this is just too much. It's just too much, but the reward is there, the freedom is there. And you have to take the good with the bad. It's not going to always be rainbows. It is definitely a lot of hard nights for sure.
What are some of those hard points? So when you're starting a business, what are the points you need to make sure you hit to start it? Or what are some of those hard points that people don't know? What's not the glamorous side of it?
So I will say, walking into entrepreneurship, I really was blessed, because when I started my public relations company, I really came in the game as an assistant. I came in as an assistant to someone else's empire. And I was like, listen, I can't stay your assistant. Like, I'm too equipped for that. Like, I need a bump up. And they offered me the opportunity to be their manager. And from there, I always had a client. After that client, I had another client, then another client. It was all about relationships. But post COVID, that hasn't been the case. This is the first time in my career where, all of my clients were hit hard, so I had to pivot. I had to find other ways to be an entrepreneur, because in my mind, you always know, as a business owner, you need to have, well, as a person, period, you need to have several sources of income. And in my mind, I got a client here, I got a client there, I got money coming in here, money coming in there. I'm good. And I'm in a, recession proof industry. People gonna always party. It don't matter if they got $5, they going to party. So in my mind, I was good, but I wasn't. When the pandemic hit, it was like, oh my God, I have to start completely over. So now I'm in that phase of being a business owner where I really understand overhead, and the ball is really on you, like really having to understand it. I'm in a whole nother league post COVID, owning multiple businesses outside of my public relations company. So I'm learning more lessons than I ever learned my first 5 years as an entrepreneur. I feel like I had like like I was, if you are a consultant and you have clients, you are blessed, especially if you walk into an industry with clients. But when you step into a whole nother business model, it's different. It's not what you, yeah. When you walk into different business models, none of the models are the same. You can apply the same methods, but the models are different. The outcomes will be different. Yeah.
So what do you consider to be the millionaire mindset?
So to me, a millionaire mindset is really understanding what's important in life, what's important in business, understanding principles, definitely understanding checks and balances, obviously. But it's more than just the glitter and the gold. It's so much more than that. It really is about principle. Um, it really is about the foundation. And my mindset has shifted so much post COVID, where the things that used to matter to me don't matter anymore. The things that I would freely spend money on, I don't freely spend money on those things anymore.
As in what, Sandra?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just as simple as, like, I'm the girl who always had her nails done. Always. I'm the girl who always had a fresh lace front, fresh weave. Always. Always. I was getting my makeup done 2-3 times a week, pre-COVID. Even when it came to my business, I was a mother and I always did it for my sons because I wanted to be a provider. But now it's about building a legacy for my sons. It's not about making enough money just so that, I can take care of them, so that we can build up our family. It's about, what are we going to leave behind for them? So those things matter. Family, values, and how you spend your money. All that rolls into millionaire mindset. Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the first few steps you take when you start a business? You said, your strategies change, but your methods kind of stay the same. Do you just jump right out and register with the state? Do you build a business plan? Do you go straight to get the EIN? And then what's the importance of all of those things?
It depends on the business, but I always research first. Because just because you have a great idea doesn't mean that it's a business. It could just be an idea, it can just be a hobby. But to think that you can create something and really make money off of it without doing your research is foolish behavior. So you really have to put the work behind the announcement. truth be told, and establishing an LLC. The reason why I would say it depends on the business, because if you have partners, then maybe you shouldn't do an LLC. Maybe you should do an LLP, or maybe you should do an S corp. Those are conversations that should be had in the idea phase, so, and I definitely wouldn't jump out to get an EIN, but that goes to the LLC part too. But yeah, I just think it definitely requires research. Do a case study if you can, depending on what type of idea it is. And a case study can be with your family, your friends, like, what do you think about this? Or sending them, a snapshot. People will tell you their honest opinion. Like, would you buy it? Would you buy into it? Do you think it's, people will tell you. And I think that, a lot of people say, don't get other people's opinions, whatever you think. No, no, you do need to do a case study. That's important. You need that feedback.
Let me ask you this. So as a female, and I'm saying this with the most respect for you and Chris, because I see it. Mm-hmm. How many times have it been off you looking at it as somebody making a proposal, and you just dreaming, your eyes just light up because you see what you can create off emotions and how much you deal with off logic. What I'm saying is how much this made sense business wise, and how many events or things you put together just drove you off the fact that I could build from here. This has allowed my creativity, which I feel as if that's your true value that you have. You want to be able to create, and if the basket is set up right, the money will fall in the proper places.
Mm-hmm. I will say that I've always had strong people around me. Even though I am a creative at heart, I've always kept people around me, whether it's my mother, whether it's a close friend. I always run it by somebody. I'm always like, does this make sense? Am I tripping? And if I get nah, you tripping, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me go back to the drawing board. Let me think about this a little bit more, So there are times where I have just been like, oh my gosh, calling somebody like, beam me up, tell me I'm lit. And they're like, no, pause, so, so I just think it's important to know that you can be creative, but also know that it just, you do have to have some logic behind it. And that's the part of being, business savvy. Everybody who's business savvy isn't creative, and everybody who's creative isn't business savvy. Then you got people who 50-50, but you're not going to always be right, and that's okay. And you're not going to always be wrong either. So sometimes you got to take a chance, even if everybody is telling you no. You can have people around you could be saying, yeah, it's stupid, but then you could take it to a whole nother market and it could blow up, so you have to, prayer is important, and I would probably advise doing that before you even do a case study. When you get the idea, when it's downloaded to you, take a step back, think about it, pray about it, and see what comes to you, so that whenever you do reach out, you know exactly how to form your words. Yeah.
Cool. Do you feel it's hard as a woman to get a lot of yeses, or you think they're just doing it strictly off of business purposes?
Oh yeah, it's definitely hard as a woman. All the industries, all the industries I have chosen to be a part of are all male dominated. Literally, all of them, from the entertainment industry, nightlife, to the dog breeding industry, to the car industry, to the trucking industry. They're all men, So you have to kind of like, I'm not gonna say fight for your spot, because you don't have to do that, but you have to fight for that respect. Like, oh, you're gonna hear me. My idea not stupid. My method can work, so you do have to stand on your loins and stand your ground with a lot of stuff as a woman, for sure. Yeah.
A lot of people that because women, that as a woman, well, you're a pretty face. More people will say yes to you because your face is pretty. In all honesty, because you have a pretty face, they will assume you're stupid, or they'll assume that's how you get by. You don't know the business side. You can't get beyond that pretty face. Like, that face gets you through the door, but just stay there, be the face and not the voice, not the innovator. And it's actually the prettier, I'm not saying that whether you're pretty or unattractive or however things go, but being a woman in this industry, in a business industry, is tough, because they use you for marketing, but they don't feel like you bring substance. And that's the hard part. You stay proving yourself. How
Yeah,
do you, especially in
yeah.
trucking?
So honestly, what you said is really a good point because I've never looked at it like that. Like, yeah, I'll have you on the front end to do all this front end stuff, but then on the back. But I will say, I've worked with some really some men who really do get it and they do listen. Even if they don't listen in the beginning, they'll take it, tuck it in their pocket, they'll listen to it later. And a lot of times with women, it is about our delivery. Men aren't very complicated creatures, you know and sometimes you can over communicate and they're just like, what, I'm not listening to nothing else you got to say, like it's just too much. So I think that women, sometimes we have to work on our delivery, and really just understanding how men work, just like they have to understand how women work. And you can still be like, I ain't toning down nothing. That's, that's up to you. But I can say that there is a when it comes to how I would say I deal with it, even in trucking, my method is really just to stay in my bubble, and to do it my way and to lean on my partner, you know, whenever I feel like I can't get something done, good cop, bad cop, you know, if I
Yeah.
can't do it, can you do it? We'll do that tug of war type of thing. So I think it's important to have a partner in these ministries. Yeah.
It is. It's very different things to deal with and do. Because we do use, if you're from women, we gonna use it. If it brings people in, we will use ourselves to be our own face, the front face for certain things. Sometimes we
Mhm.
pull in, sometimes we pull back, but we're almost like a triple threat. We can use how we look to pull people in, but then we can handle the business on the back end, and we can still innovate and do different things. When you are dealing with multiple businesses and many people pulling on you, and then you have family, and then you have yourself to take care of. How do you balance all of that?
I'll disengage. People who work with me know that. I will completely go mute. I will go silent. And sometimes I'll give you a heads up, like, listen, listen, I got to disengage. So I have really, post COVID, I have really learned how to do that, because it's so important, and even now with me deciding, and this is a decision that I made for this year to homeschool my children, you have to create that balance. And I know it's difficult, but you have to understand that we're not going to be here forever. And, you have to, it's not always about work all the time. You have to live your life. That's important. You have to live, So I've really found solace in taking my time out. Like I'll disengage if I have to. And as far as me time, I disengage from my kids too, you have to do that, or you drive yourself crazy.
Let me ask you something. Let's get to the gritty of the conversation. Because you explained when you learned that you had to walk away from a job, or you were fired from a job, or you was just in a situation where you had to create income when you had to
Mhm,
become an entrepreneur.
mhm.
At what point did you learn that entrepreneurship was more than just saying I'm going to make money? I'm going to get an LLC, and how did you learn to pay yourself through that LLC, which a lot of people don't know how to do? They just get the LLC, get the paperwork, post it on Facebook, get the likes, and they're done with it. When you're supposed to be utilizing that LLC to build business credit. The
Mhm,
LLC is supposed to protect you as a legal liability company that's
mhm,
supposed to protect you as another entity, as an individual. Could you
mhm.
explain how you learn to differentiate those two?
So when I came into the industry, I really was fortunate. I really was blessed. I had two mentors. I had Chris and I had Arif. Arif taught me so much about business, from taxes to how do you report, how do you deal with these people. I learned from the beginning. I learned about state taxes, like monthly filings, how to manage your business license, and most people going into business, you literally only think about the LLC part. I mean, but he covered all that ground within my first 6 to 8 months into entrepreneurship. So, or really, I won't even say entrepreneurship, like working for a small business. So, working for a small business in an administrative capacity, you're going to learn a lot because you're gonna be the accountant, you're gonna be the manager, you're gonna be the runner. You do so much. So that's one thing I really encourage people to get a mentor. There's so many things, and I see a lot of people like they sign up for these different services, they do their LLC for them, or they file this paper, and I'm like, you really need to learn how to do these things yourself. It's great to offset it to a service provider, but get on Google, get on it. There's so many free resources out there. And if you don't know, it's because you're not taking the time to learn it because it's there, and it's more information now than it was 7, 8 years ago. And, we grew up in an era where there was no internet. I mean, well, we had AOL dial up, man walk across the screen, but, we, we're in the age of information. So if you don't know, it's because you're not doing the work. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not ready to run a business. I'm just being honest with you, because a lot of businesses fail. Even when I watched the interview with Steve Harvey, where he was talking about his accountant ran off with, you need to be able, and I talk to my clients about this all the time, you need to be able to check your own balances. You need to know what's going on in your business. Why don't you know your EIN? You should know that. I mean, I understand I run it, and I understand you got an accountant over here that runs it, but you need to know these things as the owner, because it's important. Because the higher you climb,
it's like your social security number.
Yeah, people will just run all over you. They just will, So it's always a rule of thumb for you to know the business before you start the business from the ground up.
He made a good point when you're talking about the salary part. When you have to pay yourself, so many of us look for a job and say, "Listen, for me to live this lifestyle, this job got to pay 6 figures." But when you go into entrepreneurship, how do you make that happen? Because you still have to reinvest into your business. You have to do marketing. Like you said, there's no insurance coming from the employer. You have to pay for your health insurance. You have to maintain and manage. You still got to pay your mortgage. How do you pay yourself that ideal salary?
So
you're your 401k plan, not to cut you off.
Yeah, so I will say that you literally have to sit down, look at your expenses, and look at how much money you're bringing in, and you literally have to say, now, first of all, you have to reinvest in your business, or if you pay yourself too much, and there's, and I don't know these numbers off the top of my head. I'd be lying if I said I did, but there's a chart. If you go to Google, like, it literally will tell you, you should pay yourself this percentage based on this amount of income, so you need to break those numbers down, and you really have to do your due diligence, because even when I think about when COVID hit, there were so many people who were gig workers, that was not able to take advantage because they did not have their paperwork together. Paperwork is so important. A paper trail is so important. So if you didn't learn anything else, if you were someone who was making money on the side and you did not, even if it was a hobby, you baking cakes or whatever, if you did not, set yourself up, a business and pay yourself, it's literally as simple as sending yourself a cash out, it's literally just that simple, and you can say, I'm gonna pay myself monthly, because at that point you are a contract worker, like you really have to, your paperwork is so important. It's so important. We come from a culture where it's like, oh, well, we ain't gonna put it on paper. We just gonna get the cash. That's a culture that we have come from, and it can shoot you in the foot in the end. Know how to set your businesses up. If you feel like you're going to be making too much money and you don't want to have too much income, we'll set you up a nonprofit, and donate the money to your nonprofit, and then be on the board at your nonprofit because you can pay yourself over there too. Like it's ways around all of this to where you can continue to live a great lifestyle, receive a lot of tax breaks and have that paper trail.
That can't be right. That can't be right because what I'm understanding, if you get an LLC and you put it on Facebook, if you get likes, you get paid from that. See, that's what I was thinking because that seems to be what's going on. But you telling me
people have fallen in love with announcements and not execution.
Don't tell me that because I got 19 LLCs and I got 1,300 likes and I'm expecting the check to come in right now. Don't tell me I got to really do something with those LLCs, Shonda.
Yeah, you really have to do something. Now, I'll be honest with you. Now, there are people who collecting checks off of Facebook, and there are people who collecting checks off of Instagram. But if you are not one of those people, then you are wasting time.
I think I'm one of them people because I got an LLC, I think.
No. It's actually people without LLCs, like
so it's deeper than an announcement.
It's all about the execution. Jay-Z just had an interview, and I encourage a lot of people to go and watch it. He had an interview with Kevin Hart, and he was talking about that. Stop falling in love with the announcements and focus on the execution. You can announce it later, but where's the work? You have to put in the work. And that's why, truth be told, Crystal, she asked me when she made the post yesterday, she was like, I'm looking for you on Facebook. I promise you, I battle so much with being on Facebook and being online. And when I say battle, meaning that I feel like I have a social responsibility to be there, but I hate it. I don't like it. It's too many voices, it's too much going on, and it's not enough. It's just too much, and I'm focused on so many other things that are going to build a legacy for my children. I don't have time to be on Facebook making announcements all day. I just don't, and I don't want to see them either, and different strokes for different folks. That's just where I am in life. And you got to back away from the announcements. It's a disease at this point,
So Sean, if you battle, being on that, what do you use for your advertising and marketing it? Because social media is mostly where everybody advertises they're doing this, they're marketing. I got a consultant services, find me here, blah, blah, blah. So if you battle being on, what do you use besides word of mouth to get your name and word out about your 10 businesses you got going? I just picked the number.
So I really do live off of word of mouth. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have been successful through word of mouth. Word of mouth has not failed me. My 6-figure consulting company was built off of word of mouth. My car industry, that we execute on a day-to-day business has been off of word of mouth. It took me a year to get on Facebook and say I was in the car industry. I have been making money in that industry for a year. Before I was like, you know what, I guess I'll go online and say it. I'm fine. I'll go ahead and do it. But I'm glad you did ask that because there are so many people who fall into, and I'm not going to say I don't get online and make announcements because I do. I have, but it's like I'm going to make it and then I'm out, I can't keep saying it, but I wanted to. There's so many people who don't want to be online anymore, and they're sick and tired of it. And they want to have innovative ways to market their business. And I actually just sent it to Crystal yesterday, and I had a client who came to me who wanted to create something innovative, and I developed a system. Honestly, it's a system that I just made it work for our industry, but it's a loyalty program that you literally can download to your phone through your Apple Wallet. And if you already market to people through email blasts, text message blasts, literally when your following puts this card on their phone, you're able to send them direct notifications like Amber Alerts. You're cutting through the noise.
That's a module. That's not a system. Salute to you on that, for real. That's a module.
Thank you. It also allows you to have geotagging, where if you have a building or if you have an event and they're passing by it, it'll send them a notification and say, "Hey, just a reminder, got this coming up," um, or even if you have the building and they're passing by, you say stop by for 20% off or whatever the case may be. And then the final feature that a lot of people who are online, they may want the ability to tell people, listen, if you got this card on your phone already, download this coupon, for a free drink or free entry or whatever the case may be. If they have the card already, they can download it.
Right. You had this info you've been holding out?
Well, it's something that I literally
when Shonda and I have discussions, some of that stuff be NDA.
Yeah, so I literally just rolled this out 48 hours ago. I did it was a 6-month process, 4 to 6 months, and the case study was completed Monday. So it officially went live, and now it's available. But yeah,
being humble on here today. Shonda has sat here, and the things with the cars that she's done, she's had the dealership, but she emphasizes the her in dealership, and started a course that even gives class, like when you do the course and you may not have the money to pay for the course has scholarships that help you finance for the funding of it, to teach you how to go to the auctions and sell and start flipping your own cars, because everybody wants to flip a car, flip a house, or different things, but you don't know how to do it. So a part of the mindset is learning.
Definitely. The one thing, once I was in the car industry, I always was like, what? I don't see, there's not a lot of women here, like, at all. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna learn the game. I'm gonna get my little pitfalls. Because they're definitely there. But I really didn't have, a woman that I could lean on that would, And of course, I had my fiance who introduced me to the industry, but I didn't have, someone I could relate to that would be like, listen, girl, do this, do that, because I focus more so on the administrative side. And then I decided to step over into sales. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to show other women how to do this, because this is money. I could sell a car way faster. He sells them fast, but I sell them lickety split, So, I was like, okay, well, I'm good at this. So, let me show other women how they can do this too. You talking about, you put in, and I was talking about this online, you put up $3,000 for a car, $2,500, you can turn around, flip it, 2 days later for $2,000, make a profit of $2,000. So it's so much money in the industry, but you definitely have to have the, capital, to back you up. And that is something that I'm teaching women who have taken the course. Like, you have to have that financial backing, or you have to have your credit. And that's the stuff that people don't think about, when you are becoming a business owner. Like, what does your credit look like? What is your credit score? Thinking that you're just going to get loans and stuff just because your business, it doesn't work like that. You have to have your personal credit together. Like, that's just what it is.
10 minutes.
Let me ask you this. And I heard you say something earlier where it may be a flop idea here, but it may be the bomb here. I think you pretty much know I respect your vision when you were here. What's the difference between what you were expressing here, and I feel as if though you were successful with, to what you're expressing now, and I feel as if though you excel with? And there's a difference in that, because excelling meaning, like you said, you could thrive, you could put together a module, you can show other people. Being successful is like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's pretty much my career, and I know how to move my numbers and stay afloat for what I need. So what was the difference? Was it the culture? Was it the individuals? Or was it the mindset?
Mindset. Oh, 110%.
So you said the shift of the paradigm went from 1 to 2 incomes to 5 or 6 MSIs, multiple sources of income?
Yeah.
Elaborate, please.
Because in my mind, like I said, I was like, okay, I need 3 to 4 solid, sources of income. And I'm like, okay, well, I got 3 to 4 clients. Shoot, that's 3 to 4 sources. No, girl. No, I had all my eggs in one basket,
Yep.
and the whole thing came tumbling down. I was like, now I'll be dog if I'm gonna do this again. So that's when it's like, okay, let me jump over here, and let me get something going here. Let me go over here. Let me get something over here. Oh, okay, let me go over here and get something here. But it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to absorb, because no industry is the same. Like I said, you can apply the same methods and how you're going to market, or how you're going to do this, or how you're going to do that. But as far as learning the business, they're all different. They're all
But
different.
was it a pace of the environment, or was it an environment that you felt as normal you could pace? Was it
It
the
was
same when you
definitely
just had to adjust the title, or was it I got to adjust my hustle, reinvent myself, as they say in 48 Laws of Power?
all of it, all of the above. And first and foremost, silencing the noise, you
Right.
know. Even though I've always been a person, I always kind of stayed with my tribe. I've never been a person that had to be everywhere with everybody doing everything. I've never been that person. However, I still had a lot of distractions in my life. But when I've always been a person that will pick up and move to another city. I've been that way since I've been 18 years old. Like, I will move. That's just me. But this time, moving and really focusing, not going out, not going to the brunch parties, not going everywhere I'm invited, not doing what people expected me to do just because that's what they're used to me doing. Really, getting spiritually in tune, and focusing on the thing. I can't say it enough, focusing on the things that matter the most. Like, seriously, like, I'm for real. you know um it's been so important, and it's been key to my evolution, for sure. I'm not the same person I was 3 years ago. Yeah, I have a big personality. I'm still love people. Like, I'm still that person, but as far as the way I think, it's completely different. I'm completely
It's like
different.
you talk about, with the definition of insanity is thinking that you can do the same thing and get a different result, and it's not.
Yeah,
You
no,
had was saying that you think that the change of, like, the environment changed, the people around you change, but the reality is the change came from you.
for
The willing
sure.
to change, the
I
willing
had
to.
to make those choices. Yes, I had to make the choice to leave a market where I was successful. I had to make the choice to move to a city where I'm now a small fish in a big pond.
How
I had
scary
to
was
make,
that?
huh?
How scary was that?
Yeah, I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I'm used to that. I'm used to starting over. That's just something about me. So that doesn't scare me. But I will say, you have to understand I don't think I understood, of course, Atlanta's right down the street. Like, it's not far. People come to Atlanta all the time. But I will say that walking into Atlanta, I learned, living here, I learned so much about the culture of here, living here, than I ever would have learned just visiting. It's different. You have to uh, know your path and walk your path, and don't go off your square, because that looks good, or that looks shiny, or whatever the case may be. Like, everything is not what you think it is. So you have to know who you are, and you have to know your destiny, your
Right.
purpose, or
Right.
you can get pulled all kind of different ways. So, got to stay focused.
You have a motto for the last, especially for the last few conversations we've had, and it's been over a while. You always say, I'm gonna touch a mill this year. And it's
Yeah.
mind blowing when you say, I'm gonna touch a mill this year.
Mhm.
But to touch that mill this year, you changed how you moved. You have
Mhm.
your businesses going, but you're
Mhm.
not like Herc says, everybody has to be front and center, present, getting likes, getting attention. You pulled back from the getting likes, but when the people are, like Herc said, you're not getting paid for likes, but your goal is to touch a meal. It's not to touch six figures because you've seen it, done that. It's to hit that million. But because you're gunning for it and close, they'll do it, but gunning for it, you're hitting stuff because you're not trying to target the people's attention. You're targeting the goal. How do you stay focused on that goal?
I stay focused on it because, hey baby, y'all, I'm so sorry. My baby just, hey baby, hold on, give me a second, okay? Hold on, give me a second. Hold on. I stay focused on it because I know that I have to do it. It's like one of those things where it's like there's no other choice. If you want to reach this goal, you have to do these things. And if you don't do these things, you're not going to reach that goal. So the moment you really understand that, everything else falls, it falls to the side because you're like, I'm not going to reach my goal if I do that. I'm not going to reach my goal if I do this. So it keeps things in perspective for you, but it requires discipline. If you're not disciplined, that's the most important thing. You have to be disciplined. If you want it bad enough, you will be. If you don't want it, if you just want it because you see other people with it, then you want it for the wrong reasons anyway. So if you want it bad enough, you'll be disciplined. Just like if you want to lose weight, you're going to be disciplined if you want it bad enough. So it's no different. If you want a great relationship, you're going to be disciplined. If you want it, you're going to do it. And if you don't want it bad enough, you're not. It's not complicated. It's very easy. I'm
going to call the guys out real fast because they like to get on me. They wonder where sometime I'll be like, no, we're not buying. I'm calling y'all out. Because when we start looking at, well, we're going to buy this and buy that, Herc be like, no, don't buy that.
You say y'all, and then you call Herc name. Just say secret.
If it's in, goes behind him.
Oh, no, don't try to throw me in there now.
But when you are building a brand and you are trying to make your brand a cut above the rest, what is the importance of making sure that you are coming up with something different and being the best of what you're bringing out, being the Publix instead of Dollar General? I'll wait.
Don't knock Dollar General.
Being authentically you is not complicated. Like being yourself, you don't create what someone else has created, because they created it. Well, what you gonna do that for? To make $1? That takes us back to operating in purpose, and not just for the dollar. So be authentically yourself and know that what you bring to the market, nobody else can do it how you do it. Nobody else is going to season it how you're going to season it. So have faith in yourself. If you've done your research and you've gotten your case study, do it your way, not Dollar General's way, not Publix way, your way. How can you fail? And if you do fail, you're going to learn a lesson in that failing, and then you're going to tweak something, change something. But either way, you're learning. So be authentically yourself always. Stay true to what you like and what you want to see, and some people say, well, what you like might not be what other people like. Why you say that? Why? Yeah.
You can be, because there's someone who's going to agree with what you agree with.
Absolutely.
One of the questions that came about before the show for you today was when a person wants to do, they didn't call it a case study, they called it a focus group. But when they want to do a focus group to get the brand feedback, how do you go about doing that? Because most of us will go get people we know, but if they want to go get a focus group away from people they know to get the information that they need to really push the brand they want to push, how do you start that case study and execute it properly?
Resources, you know, reaching out to people that are within your network, that even though they may not be a close friend or they may not be a family member, but we all are, they talk about the 7 degrees of separation. I think that's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's always somebody that may be two people removed from you, or one person removed from you that has a specialty in something. Reach out, even if they may hit you back with a price tag. If you believe in it enough and you really want that information, that intel, you're going to invest in it, because you have to invest in your ideas. Like, you can't expect for anyone to invest in something that you're not willing to invest in. So, but I'm fortunate enough to be a very resourceful person. So it's always someone who's a specialty or has a niche in that, or that can connect me with someone else. And that's why relationships, is almost more valuable than a dollar. You have to lean on your relationships whenever you are building your business, because you want to be able to, because they're going to come to you too. And of course, you don't want to call your friends all the time when you got something going on, but if it's their niche, they're going to be passionate about it with you. And like I said, they may charge you, and that's okay, because you have to invest in yourself.
You say you are a very resourceful person. How did you become that resourceful person? How did you, some people are introverts. How did you build a network and step out of that bubble to build those relationships?
Probably because I was a single child for 15 years. Like, my sister was born when I was 7th, 8th grade. So I always had a big imagination and always had to, if I wanted something to shake, I had to ask somebody or reach out to a friend, or because I was always, I didn't have, I had to be resourceful, as a little girl. And I also learned that from my mom. My mom was a social worker, so she was a social butterfly, so I get a lot of my personality from her. And if that's something that's not necessarily your forte, then you have to find ways to move that are comfortable for you, or put yourself in an uncomfortable position, or hire somebody that can do it for you. you know yeah, but I've always been that way. That's just something I was born with, to be a resourceful individual. Yeah.
So earlier I asked you about
I know exactly what that
I have
is.
dogs. I'm a breeder, so yeah, sorry about that, y'all. But yeah.
So earlier I was asking you about advertising, and you said a lot of yours gets done through word of mouth. Like my biggest thing is my name is my name. I don't like putting my name on nothing that's not gonna flourish and look good. I hate it coming back. Have you ever had somebody say something bad and put a chink in your name to where you had to rebuild and it hindered you from getting the business? How'd you overcome that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, of course I've had people speak bad on my name. Hey, so what? Who cares? But when it comes to, I'll give you an example, because I do events, or which I haven't done any in a while, but a lot of the venues we were going to, they'd be one and dones, meaning once you come there, you can't come back. I'd be like, oh, that don't ruin my name, so then you just kind of go back with a different name. You just, okay, yeah, I was Shonda then, but now I'm Summer, or now I'm not coming as myself, I'm coming as my company. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Builders do that a lot. Like Essex changes their name every couple of years. They were something before.
Major corporations do it all the time. All the time. They do it all the time.
What I'm learning is it's not more so the name. In the beginning stages, it's like the name. in the middle towards the end, it's more so about the brand. It's more so about what they know they're getting with this individual who represents this brand. So I think we become like enamored pretty much with what we think we're supposed to be and who we think we are in our own mind. Whereas if though we're not pleasing the customer, and I feel as if though in nightlife, I feel as if though in community, I feel as if though in business, where we got to represent the customer because we're trying to serve what the customer needs. That's the only way we excel. So I think it's like Master P. Master P had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful business setup. The only thing is he put persevere on everything. You understand what I'm saying? Like everything didn't deserve Percy Miller. Some things deserve to been John Miller. I don't give a shit. But my thing is like Percy Miller. So my thing is like when you say you take it away from a name, but you just change the identity of the individual, a lot of people don't understand the power in that. Like, hey, okay, I failed at this. I failed at this representation of this. Club owners do it all the time. I want to dust myself off. I want to recreate. I want to go visit 7 states over just to get some idea. Not to copy, not to mimic, but at the same time allow me to create. And then I want to come back as this. That's so powerful because a lot of people can't pick up the pieces and start over. What's your motivation besides your kids, besides your creativity? Is it the structure of you putting things together? Because you know they say that if you want to make God laugh, telling your plan, but to realize you came out with 85% of the plan, that's my high. Was saying I want to do this, do that, and 85% of the plan actually turn out. That's powerful. So what is it for you?
You know, as a child, I've always had a very grandiose, my mom used to always say it like, you're so grandiose. You know, it used to just because my mom and I actually am too. I'm very conservative, you know, for the most part. And when I say that, like, I'm not one of those people who I have to have all the designer bags and all the, you know, and actually, you know, I'm one of them people, you know, where everyone else may lean towards Louis Vuitton. I'm leaning more towards Tory Burch. Like, you know, I'm not a label person. I just like quality things. So I have a very grandiose personality. So it's always been, if I want it, I'm gonna go get it, type of a complex. My mom tells me this story all the time. We were walking in the mall. I probably was like 5 years old, and there was a pageant going on. And it was little girls, and they were walking on the stage. Because, you know, back in the day, they used to have pageants in the middle of the mall. I don't know if y'all remember that, but we were walking in the middle of the mall, and my mom said I literally just jumped on the stage, and it was like, "Oh no, baby, you can't do that," you know. So they pulled me off the stage and said, "Listen, if you want to be in the pageant, you got to go and register." And da da da. I said, "Okay." So my mom registered me, and the next year I won. So I've always just been one of those people where if I want it, I'm gonna go get it. You know, it's mine because I said it's mine. You know, and who are you to tell me that it's not? You don't control that, you know? So I've always been that way. You are not my God. You are not my source. It doesn't come from you. My power doesn't come from you. My talent doesn't come from you. My strength doesn't come from you. So if I want it, God put it in me for a reason. So that means I'm going to go get it. So that's what keeps me going, because if it's in me, then it came from somewhere. So I have to achieve it, because
A lot
otherwise
of
I'm doing a disservice.
we let the opinions of others dictate and guide us. We are built on the friends who say go for it. And if your friends say you can't do it, then of the 8 billion people on this earth, those 5 have stopped you. So it's that self, that affirmations, they say it now. We talk to ourselves, talk yourself up, go after it. When you silence those distractions, you really push after what you need to go for. Those moments you get discouraged, how do you re-encourage yourself to keep pushing? Because life hits the wall.
Those are some hard moments. I'm going to be honest. You know, anyone who acts like, oh, yeah, I just get up, dust myself off. And it may be people who are like that, you know, where it's like they get down, they get knocked down, and, you know, 5 minutes later, they back on their feet. You know, I'm one of those people where I will sit in that moment. I have to process that. I have to understand it. I have to know who, what, where, when, and why, you know, and it may take me a month. It may take me 2 months. It might even take me a year, but I'm going to eventually get back up. But I'm not going to rush myself through that phase. Don't let anybody rush you. You know, take your time to get through what you need to get through, whatever that may be. And give yourself grace. My God, give yourself grace. You know, and I think that that's so important. You know, we have this whole, got to go and get it, got to go and get it, got to do this, got to do that. Give yourself grace. If you know that you are putting forth your best effort and you have failed at different things, and this may not have went the way you wanted it to go, or whatever the case may be, it's okay to stop, and regroup, and give yourself time, and don't let nobody rush you through that. Even now, I have people like trying to get back in, when you gonna do events, when you gonna do parties, when you coming back. And I'm just like, I'm just not there yet. I love y'all, but it's just not what I want to do right now, and it's okay, for you to sit on it and you come back when you're ready.
Okay, okay. You say you're not doing that right now. I got something to do right now.
I am to a degree.
I mean, you can't stop right here. You say you got to stop and regroup sometimes. So I'm gonna ask you 6 questions. I'm giving you 15 seconds to differentiate or tell me your explanation. Outcast or Wu-Tang? Go.
Outcast.
Why? 15 seconds, Sean. You can't say outcast.
Creatives.
15. Huh?
Creatives.
Say what now?
Creatives. I just feel like they were just more creative. I'm more of an outcast girl.
Okay. Popularity or fame?
Aren't they the same?
No. Popularity is pretty much you just liking likes. Fame is you utilizing, you still visiting clubs 20 years later off the fame that you had.
Neither.
Well, what then? Don't make this hard on me. It's supposed to be hard on you.
Fame, then, I guess, because fame is more of a legacy.
Okay. Atlanta or Columbia?
Pass.
Metro. I'm a Metro baby. So
Metro.
You did good right there. You did good right there, but I saw you tipping. I mean,
because I had to think about it's more money here, but at the end of the day, if I got to go with the people, like, I'm a Metro baby, so it's gonna always be Metro for me. Yeah.
Broad River at 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve or Atlanta any day?
Atlanta any day.
Traffic?
Yeah, I like the buildings. It's the scenery for me. Broad River, it is run down.
All she gonna see is the lake.
Yeah, I ain't trying to see it. If I'm gonna be stuck in traffic, put me around skyscrapers. I mean.
15 seconds.
Okay. 5 years of creativity for an abundance of money, or $150,000 a year on salary?
Oh, definitely the 5 years.
Yeah, I can tell you that one.
Creativity is your juice?
For sure.
Last one. MC Hammer or T.I.?
Dang. T.I.
I'm messing with you.
Been around the world.
From London to the
I
Bay.
grew up on Hammer, but T.I., I mean, come on now.
Don't forget who Hammer was. Don't discredit Hammer.
You cannot discredit Hammer. That's why I had to think about that. Now, hold on. But yeah, T.I. for me.
No, but all jokes aside, I really want to say, like, I've always respected, like, your vision. My thing is, like, where does your motivation come? Does it come from magazines? Does it come from visiting other people? Or does it come from your network base? If you having people from outside the state or the city or just in your circle, what you're dealing with on a constant basis?
All of it. I draw inspiration from everywhere.
Right.
Everywhere. It's just my mind never stops working. I'm always thinking of something. So if I'm around you, it's just, yeah. I mean, I can be outside. We can be at a conference table. Like, I'm inspired by the smallest things.
Your mindset is your mind is set, then, right?
Huh?
Your mindset is your mind isn't set.
Is it set?
Your mindset is that your mind isn't set.
Correct. I could change at any given moment.
Right.
Yeah, I'm constantly evolving. Don't put me in no box. That's the worst mistake you could ever make.
Kirk Mario says, "Shut up."
You said what?
He said, "What was my proudest moment as a business owner?" When I hit that, when I set that goal to hit my first 100K and I hit it.
How long did that take? If you don't mind me asking.
It took me 4 years. It took me a long time, honestly. But I had no startup capital. It was just all grind, all hustle. I started making $200 a week. I came in making $200 a week, and was able to turn nothing into something. And that was definitely my proudest moment. That's when I knew, oh, I can do this. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So next I'm gonna hit my million, because I'm gonna do that. And of course, you can hit $1 million over the course of course, I've seen $1 million even with building client businesses, and have I had $1 million roll through my hand? Of course, but it's different when you say my business, my baby, this one right here. This business hit $1 million this year. That's my goal for my businesses, and not just for one, for a few of them. I want to hit it. I want to see that ticker by December for sure.
To accomplish what you've accomplished from 2014 to today, raising children, moving to another city, and being able to say you did all of that and you did not work for somebody is massive.
But I did, though. And you have to remember, when you are a consultant, you work for your clients. They are your employers. Don't psych yourself out to thinking anything other than that. So I have the utmost respect for the people that I have worked for and worked with, because they have given me opportunities to lead their business. So yeah, I didn't clock into corporate, but I clocked in for my clients for sure.
What has been, I know he asked your proudest moment. What has, aside from your mindset and ability to adapt, we talked earlier about creativity and innovation. A lot of people are like, well, entrepreneurs jump from one thing to another. Today you might be making fries. Tomorrow you're making t-shirts. The next week you're making hats. And maybe you're making socks. Why is it okay to always be in the lab creating?
Well, there is a saying, and we talked about this too, Crystal. There is a saying that say you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I definitely do believe that. There does come a point in time where you have to be like, listen, okay, what are your goals? Like, you need to sit down and you need to make this successful before you put all your energy over here, and that's something that to this day I am still learning as a creative, because I'll have an idea and I'll be like, ooh, I know this is $1 million idea, and in fact it is. However, you still have to pace yourself. So it's nothing wrong with having your notebook, having your journal, writing your ideas down. Timing is everything. So
your notebook on the computer.
Yeah, so just because you have the idea today doesn't mean you need to put it in effect tomorrow. Write it down, come back to it, make what you have right now in front of you successful, because you created that too. You can fall in love again with an announcement, and don't have the execution. So, just pace yourself. That's important. Have your ideas, write them down, don't stop creating, but don't lack the execution either.
I tease Herc all the time, Shonda, because he got a real notebook, like pencil paper, like.
I do too, Herc. You ain't never gonna get better than putting that thing on a piece of paper and looking at them papers crunched up. Like, that's another level of, I don't know. It's just different. That electronic, I got to write my ideas on a piece of paper. I got to see it. I got a scrapbook for sure.
I got to see it.
You done made all of us sit on a moment where we can have I told you so moments. You told me it's okay to be me. You done told Ian it's okay to be the jack of all trades and the master of none. And you done told her to keep that damn notebook.
Keep your notebook. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing the things you can learn from others. I think a lot of today's people that have watched with us, Mario said all his stuff is in a notebook. A
Yeah.
lot of the people who watched today were business owners or potential business owners. If you are a business owner, and after this, we'll let you do closing remarks, I swear. If you're a business owner with a great idea, but you're trying to get your support to come from the locals, how do you push your business to become mainstream elsewhere? Because you and I talk a lot. Sometimes the city don't back you until the world is prepping you.
Oh, for sure.
How do you push your business to go mainstream, to get, like, you have your clients and your word of mouth, get it out so that the money is coming in, and then worry about home, backing you later? Because sometimes your people who know you don't support you like strangers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes with your business models. If every business model you have requires the support of people that you know, then you don't have enough sources of income, and if you do, you are focused on, very, markets that are oversaturated, because if you're really stepping into big business really doesn't, you don't need the support system of your like you don't need a following for that. I'm gonna be honest with you. So you really have to expand your mind, that the mindset. Stop thinking that you need the support of people around you to be successful, because your success is not tied to them. Now, of course, if you're in entertainment, that's different. You definitely need to have your hometown behind you. We hear that all the time, but who said you need to have your home behind you for a clothing store, or you need to have your hometown behind you for, a brokerage business, or who said that? That's not, no. You need to think larger.
Word.
Now that they don't even know that when the trucking business hits, you sit behind it like dispatching. Get stuff wrong.
I don't even want to talk about it. Ooh, that industry is fast, very much so, very
Yes.
fast paced. And it'll hand your ass to you too. You gotta know what you're doing when you stepping into big business. People not there to play. People have a lot of money on the line. So when you step into something, you need to have your knowledge. You know what you're doing. Stop stepping into stuff just because you see everybody talking about it online. You need to do your homework.
So before we go, because we didn't held you for much longer than the hour we promised we would, I will do something I used to do and get hooked all the time, and let's give everybody a chance to give their closing remarks before they go, their words of wisdoms, their takeaways. Ladies first, even though I'm gonna go last. I'm gonna
Okay.
go with you first.
Yeah, so I just want to close with saying that, as a people, I am so excited to see the shift that is happening with us as a people. Things are changing right before our eyes, from a spiritual standpoint to an entrepreneur standpoint. Like, our people are really waking up, and some people are, catching on a little bit slower. Some people aren't catching on at all, but as a whole, I am just so proud of the forwardness that I see amongst us, as Black and brown people. So keep going. You're gonna hear a million no's, but all it takes is that one yes. And and we took group economics is so important. Building a legacy for your children is so important. Having something for your children to walk into when they turn 18 years old is so important. Yeah, it's going to be great when they turn 18, but what are you going to have for them when they turn 18? Is it just an application, for them to go into the army or for them to go to college? Like, what are you building for your children to really walk into? What is the generational wealth looking like? And that's what we have to think about. If you are a parent, it's not about you anymore. It's about these children and the next generation. So, if you're not getting to work, what are you waiting for? So those are my closing remarks. Thank you for having me, CTS.
Awesome. Go ahead, Hurt.
Hey, listen, call a number. Don't just put the camera right on me.
I'm so sorry. Let's zoom out and back in. Go ahead now.
Listen, with all that Shonda said, I agree. You just stay focused on what you want to do, and creating some type of legacy for your kids in the future. That's exactly what Kicking It with Dads is all about. So we want to be able to put that into the youth, put that as well into the community. So August 20th, we're gonna have Kicking It with Dads in Sesquicentennial Park. We don't want you to pay nothing. You pay us with smiles. But all in all, we want to thank Ms. Davis for coming on tonight and sharing her experiences with entrepreneurship as she made a transition from Columbia to Atlanta, and she's thriving there. So thank you, Ms. Davis, on that. And stay grinding, Columbia, and everybody else out there.
All right.
That was a good segue plug for that Kicking It with Dads. I like that. But first off, of course, one thing, Shonda, for being on. The biggest thing I got, it's always about how much money you make, but it's definitely what you spend your money on. So make sure you're investing in yourself. You ain't always got to have that Gucci shirt, man. It's okay to wear hangs every now and then. But that's all I got for you. Stay grinding.
Definitely.
Today was a really, really great show. Of course, this is my favorite conversation. I love business. I love money. I love empowering Black people. I love the Black Wall Street conversation. I love the talking about the Kicking It with Dads, the CTS, talking about the dealership. If you're looking into wanting to flip cars, you want to go into the auction business, you want to go that direction. Shonda's someone you definitely want to reach out to so you can learn how to do the brokerage business properly. If you are looking to wanting to get a poodle, she's who you talk to about a poodle as well, because she breeds them. Of course, we got Kicking It with Dads coming up. If you're a griller, if you can really cook, because I like to really eat, and if you can really cook, only if you can really do you need to get into the grill off and come on out. Grand prize is $1,000. Second place has a prize. We're giving out gold and silver and bronze spatulas. We got a kickball game if you're competitive, so we want you to come on in. Shouts out to Majority for joining in. We had Lisa with the healing space come in with us. We've had so many great things. We have, of course, 3E Vision. We have what I do as Crystal Jacqueline. When I talk to people about your business, you want to get your 501c3. Everybody is trying to build something that leaves a legacy, even if that legacy means your kids just see you never giving up. And so they know to go for it. One thing I would love for us to do as a people is to look out and encourage your people. Back your people up. If you have someone you know that's trying to do something, positive feedback, not envious feedback. Because the more we build up each other, the better the world is for this next generation coming in. It's scary out there right now. This recession is real. But the more we pour into what's already into us, the more we walk into our purpose, the more we have our stuff faith-based, and the more we faith our fears and go for things that we don't normally go for because we're scared of, the better we are. Like Shonda said, relationships matter. Friendships matter. Keeping your frequency high matters. And at this point, we've done too much for us to look up and lose right now. We've come too far for us to fail today. Go after it. Achieve it, win it, attack it, all of it. But use your resources. Tonight, I gave y'all a resource. Don't text Shonda. Use her email address. I text her. But learn from your people. You got a resource here from Atlanta to the metro. We are really trying to do what Herc always says when we say spread love the metro way. And we're not playing about moving this movement to the point of no return. Go for it. That's it. That's the post.
CTS podcast.
Kicking It with Dads.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Some stuff down there for you. And if you need a car, because these dealerships down here are high, some of them do have a car dealership that will ship cars to you.
Yes, you can find me online, shondandavis.com, and everything is there. From consultations to cars to dogs to, everything's there. Yeah. Look me up.
Platinum Vision. So listen, we appreciate y'all tonight. We about to eat. We about to go to bed. We about to take care of these kids. Those of us who don't have any are about to keep the house clean. Y'all have a great night. We appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.